Hello, I'm Julia. I'm the therapist, the Rogue Widow. I started this channel yesterday basically because over the years I've been a widow for 11 years, and over the years I have now run into other people who have been going through the same journey as I have. And as I explained yesterday, how I became a widow of my husband, who had a terminal illness for 20 years. And even though I knew that he was going to pass, um, I was not ready. I thought I was, but I was not ready, and you're probably not either. So if you're tuning in here today and you're a widow, my heart goes out to you, my love goes out to you, and the best words that I hope will resonate with you is you will be okay. One day at a time, one small step at a time, and on your terms, not anybody else's, on your clock, not anybody else's. Do not listen to people when it's been a year, you need to move on. No, you don't. I don't care if it's been a year, 5 years, 10 years, or 2 months. You do what you need to do for your personal happiness, and that's what will work better for you. Today is going to be a video about that first year, the first year without your beloved. And as I said yesterday, when he passed, 50% of me at least went with him, my heart, my soul, the person that finished my sentences, the person that knew my favorite candy, that knew how I like to have my fruit punch with lemons or limes, that But I will tell you this. I had talked yesterday about certain defining moments and certain memories that I do recall. Some of the things I do recall. After he took his last breath, and I was in the hospital bed with him physically when he took that breath, and I whispered to him over and over, "Go home, honey, go home. I'll be there when my chores are through. Go home, go home." My son was on the cell phone with him praying. His mother and sister were there, so we had a very peaceful Passover. I'm so very blessed for that. But I remember when I finally did decide to leave the hospital room to walk out, and I came out of the hospital doorway room into the hall, my thought was, I don't have anybody to ever hold my hand again. I don't have anybody that I will ever even have a dance with again. I was so lonely, and I knew then I was alone without him, and my life was going to be different. The way that I looked at my world, my community, my family, my colleagues, they were on their planet of normal, the normal planet, and I was on the planet of, where am I at planet? Fear, pain, anxiety, depression, sadness, anger, disappointment, hurt, name it. I've got it, you've got it, we've all been there, done that, probably still do. So I know this, the first year was the hardest, and I do tell people that your first year may be very difficult for you, and for some people it may not, and I admire those people. But my first year was hard. So let me tell you what was the hardest thing that happened. When my husband passed, he was 56 and I was 56. So in September I turned 57, and I was overwhelmed with the fact that I was now older than him, and I didn't think about that until my birthday actually came up, and I had to say, I'm now older than him. And the only way that I can describe that is, it was, now looking back, it was just a new thing that came up on the wheel of being a widow, that I'm now older than him, and most likely you will become older than your loved one day. All right, his the first holidays we had without him. Halloween was really different. Him, especially when the children were younger, loved it. So I really started to dread holidays because he just wasn't here. And your loved one is such that big part of your life. And so one of the things, even though my kids were teens and early 20, I I still tried to do things normal. I still tried to make them candy bags. We still tried to decorate the house because it's my son's favorite holiday of the year. So I did that, and I put on a smile, and we worked through it. Um, I also provide care to patients at nursing homes. So I was able to I still took the treat bags out and I still dressed up and went to, it helped people, it helped. So if you have the energy to go back and do something that you did during that time, try to do it. But if you can't and you need to be alone, or you just need to go out with your BFF, or you need to just be with your pets, that do what works for you. This first year, give yourself a license to organize your thoughts and know that Halloween's going to come again next year. His birthday's going to come again next year. Father's Day, it's all going to come again next year. So use this first year to say, okay, just Lord, let me get through it the best I can, and then we will decide on what we do after that. The biggest rule of thumb that I tell people, and I tell them in my practice and when we're having formal therapy sessions, is the one thing that I will encourage you to do is just deal with what's in front of your hand and your face today. Deal with what's in front of you today. Do not deal with 5 years from now. Do not deal with 2 years from now. Don't even deal with 6 months from now. You only have the capacity right now and the emotional awareness to just deal with what's in front of you. That's going to make your day go a lot better and make you okay for the day. Small steps. As like I said yesterday, this first year is not the time to make major decisions. It is not the time for major purchases that you really don't need. One of the rules I want to ask you to kind of do remember today is what you want and what you need is two different things. What you want and what you need is two different things. So try to rely on that. I know many of my widowed friends got life insurance money, so they went out and bought a new car, or they went out and bought a boat, or they bought a timeshare, or they bought some things, and within just a few weeks or months they were saying, I cannot believe I did this. It was not a good decision, because what they were not thinking of at the time is, I've got to now work on a financial situation that is just for me. If you were blessed with life insurance, that is incredible, or leftover stocks and portfolios, that is awesome. I still want to encourage you to make sure you meet with the right folks and then tailor it for you as a single person. But most people, the majority of most people, especially today, live from paycheck to paycheck. It's true. A lot of people, paycheck to paycheck. So, you do have to understand and prepare for that. And if you're in the older generation of being a widow, you may be in the situation where if he or she was drawing Social Security, or if you're getting ready to draw, the only thing that I will tell you about that is if you are going to choose to take widow security early, understand that that's the amount that you will have, and it may or may not change when you reach your retirement age. So I just want to tell you to please explore all your options. This comes into the don't make major decisions this first year. Get all the information you can. And the reason I say don't make major decisions is you're hurting, you're in incredible pain, you are still in shock and traumatized from the major change that you have in your life. And a lot of people really discount it. Well, you knew he or she was going to pass and they're not with you anymore, but you're so blessed to have your children and your other family members. Yes, we are. Pray, yes, but it's still, half of you is gone. And until a person has been through this themselves, They're not going to comprehend it. So when they say things like this to you, try to remember most people really don't know what to say to you. Even now, I will tell you what, my sisters knew what to say to me because they know me. Um, and my friends who were widows knew what to say to me, but others stood back a little bit sometimes and didn't really know what to say, but they did make efforts, and I have to be so appreciative that they did make efforts. And that's one of the lessons that I learned too, folks, is it's not that some of your close friends and neighbors that don't come around anymore, and you know that happens. It's not because they don't want to. It's because they honestly don't know what to say to you. So, I have had some people in other situations for therapy who have lost somebody, or their friend has lost somebody, and they've said, I haven't been over and I feel bad because I just don't know what to say. And you know what I tell them? That's exactly what you say. I'm sorry I haven't been here for a while, but I just don't know what to say to you. That's what you say. And you can add, I'm here. Just let me know how to help. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to help. So, when I go to services now and I meet my new members of the Widow Club, they don't know that they're going to be a new member, but shortly after, guess what? Who calls me up and comes to me to say, I think I need some help? I do. So at the services, what I say to them is I go up to them and say, I'm so sorry for your pain, and there is absolutely nothing that I can say or do that's going to make this better. I feel your pain, and I'm here if you need me. And that's it. Let go. Let go. Um, Most of the time, after we have lost somebody and we're going through the traditional, now I live in the South. Y'all have to understand, I am in the South and North Carolina. So when somebody dies here, the food is coming through the front door. Lots of cards, lots of flowers. Um, I didn't really have to do anything. My circle of loved ones did everything. And, the truthful reason is I could not do anything. I could not think. And I was so appreciative that people could do it for me. And I don't remember much of anything. I remember very little of a service. And that's called a defense mechanism. Our sweet, incredible, intricate neurological system and psychological system has defense mechanisms. We are not supposed to remember everything. When a person goes through a major trauma of, torture or abuse, we put it away, put it in the background. It does come out later at some time, most likely, in difficult relationships, unable to cope in situations, lots of anxiety. But the reasons that we don't remember a lot of those things, it's a defense mechanism. It's too painful. It's too painful. And so our sweet little meter of pain and emotions is still able to regulate what can kind of come out and not. And so over the years, it's been 11 years, some memories have come back that I perhaps didn't hold on to. And then there's some things that I just have to tell myself as a therapist, well, if I don't remember it, there's a reason why, and I'm still here and I'm doing okay, so we're going to be okay. So the first year, do not make major decisions. I can tell you, we talked about it yesterday, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. And if you're okay alone, bless you, go forward. If you're lonely and you are out there and you're jumping into, I've got to have somebody with me, I can't be alone, reevaluate that. You'll probably learn you can be alone. It's more that you don't want to. And, reaching into a quick relationship, I'm not going to tell you it's going to work. I'm not going to tell you it won't work. What I'm going to tell you is most of the time, it does not work for long. And the patients and clients that I have seen over the years now about going through their widowhood journey that did that very quickly, divorced very quickly, lost a lot of things in the process, and will say if I had it to go over again, I would have slowed down a little bit. So what can they bring out of that experience? Well, they can now tell other people that are getting ready to go through the same thing, what they went through. Now, does that other person hear it shortly after a loss? Do they absorb it shortly after their loss? Some do, some don't. So you just have to do what you can do in one day and get through it. The traditional holidays of Thanksgiving and Christmas, where he or she used to sit. Did they do the cooking? Did they do the carving? Did they say the prayer? All of that will come forward. And I remember our first Christmas without him. I did set his plate at the chair that he sat, and we had our dinner, me and my 2 children, and it was not the same. And it has not been the same since. But we most likely did that day, honestly, was just get through the day. So one of the things that I learned in going through that first year, when I knew these holidays and special days were coming up, I dreaded them so much. And when the day got here, I just kept looking at the clock to please strike midnight and let this day be over. So that got the first year, that's what I did. Now, my children were very tearful, and they talked to me and how they missed him and we missed him. And we do talk, and we still talk today. There is never a time in this family that anyone should feel uncomfortable for bringing up Dad, you know. Again, as I said yesterday, I did not feel the need to take everything out of my house within the next week that belonged to him. His clothes are still in the closet. Most of them have been put up and put away in a special place because, you know, we might want to make blankets out of his sweat clothes and different things like that. I will tell you another defining moment. After we got home from the hospital, we had not had the service yet, but, you know, I had come home from the hospital that day, and my sister drove me home. So coming through the door, I realized then that I didn't have a home anymore. My home was gone. This was just a house. It just became a house. And I walked into the bedroom, and I looked down at the corner of the bed, and there was his sneakers, where, you know, they had been left a couple of months before when we went to the hospital. And I just remember thinking, he's never going to wear these shoes anymore. I'm not going to hear these shoes come down the hall. That was a defining moment. Still have those sneakers. My son has them. That was a defining moment. Another defining moment was when I looked in his Bible, and the last time that we had gone to church together, our church, when they gave out the bulletin, there would be an insert inside there so you could make notes or, you know, fill in the blank sort of things of what the lesson was that day. And there his was, as it was every time we went. He was a faithful servant. He was a incredible Christian. And I will tell you this about my husband. He knew he was very sick. We all knew he was very sick. He knew his time was limited. He knew he was going to be leaving us first. And he never once complained. He never lost his faith. He never lost his faith. I don't think he was doing it to keep us strong. I think he was doing it because it was very real. His favorite saying over the last years was, I want to let you know, Juju, that my prayer to God is just let me see my children get through college and I'll be ready to go home. Just let them get through college. I'll be ready to go home. My daughter, she got through college, and my son graduated the next year after he died. So they did that, and that was just one of our things. So the first year, sleeping alone, gee, well, if you've had a person like I did that was in the hospital a lot, you were already sleeping alone a lot. And you may have thought, oh, I guess I can do this, I'll be okay. Well, when you're doing it then, you have this small hope that, you know, medicine's going to come through with that cure, or he's going to get to come back home one more time. So when you actually do come back and realize he's not or she's not coming back and you are sleeping alone, that's another defining moment. So I know that some of my friends have told me that they just had to sleep on the couch. Some have told me they slept in another room. They couldn't even go in that room. Um, some have told me they had to completely throw the bed out, throw all the furniture out, and just kind of redecorate. Well, that's okay too. So for me, we had this huge king size bed. My husband was 6'4" and 200 plus pounds. So one of the things that I did was I got rid of the king size bed. I got a smaller bed, and my bedroom now reflects a feminine chick. You walk into my bedroom and it's all chickied up, you know. So that helped me. Now, however, did I grab his shirts and button them on a pillow and sleep with them and hold them? Absolutely. Did I get his favorite blanket and sleep with it? Absolutely. Sleep in his sweatshirt? Absolutely. Do what you have to do. It's okay. We still, me and my daughter and my son, have an entire storage box of his sweatshirts as any typical guy, and we wear them all the time. We don't even think twice about it. My daughter loves his sweat jackets. My son loves his jackets. I love his jackets. It's part of our family wardrobe. We just do family wardrobes here. We wear a lot of sweat jackets here in the Carolinas all through the years. Even the summer, you may need them at night, so you will reach in there and grab them, and it makes us all feel nice and warm, and Dad's with us. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. So, you know, those are some of the things that we do. Don't be afraid to bring his or her stuff back out in your life. It's no disrespect. It's just another sign of your infinite love for this person, and do what you have to do. Will the pain ever go away? I wish I could tell you different. It won't. But as I said, it can be managed. You will learn to compartmentalize. You will learn to put it in a place. Well, you know, there are some times that I just have to sit down and think back on all of the wonderful memories. I have to sit down sometimes and go through the photo albums of when the children were little and miss it and cry and go through that. It's good. It's a release, and it's okay, and it's a tribute. It's a tribute. So the first time that you do that, and you will go through some things, you know, if you're cleaning out things or whatever, you know, they smell like them. I still have some of my mom's sweaters that I have to just pick up sometimes. That's okay. That's okay. So the more that you become comfortable with the thought that they are on the other side and you're still here, you will be able to move on. And perhaps comfortable was not the right word. It may be more of acceptance. As I said and explained a little bit yesterday, this grief is in stages. It's always with you. Mr. and Miss Grief, their goal every day is to chop you down every day. So you have to take control and tell yourself, oh no, the grief, first is the shock, it is the trauma. And then you bargain, dear Lord, what can I do to make things happen? What can I do to bring time back? Then you get angry. And when you're angry, we do some things maybe we shouldn't do, make decisions we shouldn't make. You eventually get through that. And then at some point, there will be a point. I don't know if it's in that first year. I don't know if it's 5 years. I don't know if it's 2 months, that you will accept that they are not coming back. Mine was about that 6 months. His truck was always parked out front, so I could look out the front door, and where I sat in the TV room was in front of the glass door. So when I looked out, I saw his truck. Well, I don't know what happened. I don't know what spurred it. I don't know what brought it on. I just walked up to the door and I looked at his truck. And what I told myself was, that truck ain't coming back down that hill no more. It's parked. I'm never going to look up and see him driving down the hill. And I believe at that moment was when just this incredible blanket of acceptance rushed over me. And in my mind, emotionally, I knew. I had always known, but I truly emotionally knew. I knew physically that he wasn't coming back. This was an emotional acknowledgement, acceptance that he's not coming back. And so I took it, and I went back and had another talk with myself and said, okay, what are we going to do from here? What are we going to do from here? That was moving on, through that first year again. Another question I had during that first year is, am I still married? What am I? I told you yesterday about going to the doctor, and the form I had to fill out had marital status with an M, a D, and a W. Well, I had to circle the W, and I got angry about that. But in my mind, I've said, am I still married? And okay, well, death do us part. I don't think we die. I think we live forever on the other side. So am I still married? I consider myself very much still married, and he's on the other side. I believe that I'm spiritually married. I'm on the other side. Down here, my status is widow, if that's what makes everybody in the legal system happy. And that's okay too. So you will wrestle with that. Am I Mrs. anymore, or am I Miss or Ms? What do we do with that? Those are questions that we have. And they can be silly to some people, but it's very important to you. So those are some of the things, that we get through as well. But today, what I want you to take away from this is the first year for most people, and when I'm talking to you, I'm talking about most people. There are always exceptions. For most people, the first year is very difficult. It is difficult. It's the first birthday, the first mother or fathers, the first vacation without, the first Halloween, Thanksgiving, and tomorrow, the first Valentine's Day. And for those of you that tomorrow is your first Valentine's Day, my heart and love is so much with you. I don't have any answers for you. I have prayers for you. And I do want to encourage you not to stay in the bed or not to be alone, unless that alone is you're one of those people that do better alone. But I hope you have a pet or something that you do plan to go for yourself. During that first year, let me tell you what I learned to do. I went to a movie by myself. That when Sully came out, I wanted to see that movie. I wanted to see the movie, and things just didn't pop up on YouTube overnight now like they do. So you know what I did? I went to the movie. I drove and went to the movie and got my popcorn and sat down, and I watched that wonderful movie. Then when I got through with that wonderful movie, I drove through one of my favorite restaurants in this little town, and I got my dinner to go and came home and had my dinner and watched TV with my puppies and told them all about my night. It was great. Think about it. Hit a movie or drive through somewhere, get you a dinner, and sit in the car and eat. Do something. Anything helps. If you have a friend you can go out with, that's okay, but you may not want to be going out with everybody who's being doused with roses and perhaps a marriage proposal in front of you and different celebrations. You may not be ready for that. I was not ready for that. The first wedding I went to, I thought I was going to be physically sick. But guess what? I got through the first wedding that I had to go through. I got through the first year that I had to go through. I got through the first Valentine's. So I'm okay with Valentine's tomorrow. I'm okay with it tomorrow. I will get my son and daughter some candy, and I'll make a bag, and I will go to a nursing home when I get through with this video and take some candy and balloons and some fun things. And I will miss my beloved, and I will miss the flowers that he used to give me and the candy that he used to give me. But you know what I do now? I praise the Lord every day for those 23 Valentine's Day that I had with him. And I hope and pray that you will get to a place in your heart that you can do that too. So we've covered the first year today as truthfully as I can be. It's difficult. You have to go through it on your way the best you can. Do what you can do. I encourage you still to, if you're new, do 3 small things a day to just get through the day and put one foot in front of the other. Reach out to your family and friends if you have to. It's okay to reach out. It's okay to ask for help. And the last thing I'm going to tell you, as I do with my videos, you are going to be okay. I don't have a time set for when you are going to be okay. That's your control. But you are going to be okay, and you can do this. The worst is over. The worst is over. May God bless and keep you until we meet again. And episode 3 will be tomorrow. Please, please pounce on that like button. Leave me a comment on how long you've gone through your journey. Subscribe and keep us going, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you all.